So you said enough already and you went the other way. But no, it's just, around 40. I like it. Elizabeth Taylor, the beauty queen of Hollywood, possessed mesmerizing purple eyes that drove millions of men around the world crazy. She was married to 7 powerful and wealthy men. But few people know that it is just to hide the truth. Elizabeth Taylor loved women. 5 names that made the heart of the most powerful woman in Hollywood. At that time, tremble, fall in love, and even despair. One made Elizabeth skip the Oscars for the first time just to be with her. One left her with a historic kiss. One made Taylor cry because of the pain of betrayal. So who are those 5 women? Who is the woman that made Elizabeth Taylor willing to give up everything? All will be revealed right in today's video. Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor was born on February 27, 1932, in Hampstead, London, to an Anglo-American family. When World War II began in 1939, her family moved to Los Angeles, a fateful move. It was here that Elizabeth, with her exotic beauty that seemed to come straight out of a painting, caught the eye of filmmakers before she was even an adult. Elizabeth was not only beautiful, she was unique. Her legendary purple eyes reflected the mysterious light of amethyst, her smooth porcelain skin, her shiny black hair, and especially her natural double eyelashes, which less than 1% of the world's population possesses. Nature had already drawn eyeliner for her. Elizabeth stepped into the world as a star, born to stand out. It was no surprise that at the age of 10, she appeared in her first film, There's One Born Every Minute, 1942. But that was just the prelude to a brilliant career that lasted more than half a century. At the age of 12, Elizabeth shot to stardom in the film National Velvet, which was not only a box office hit, but also established Elizabeth as a child prodigy. The 1950s were a time when Elizabeth matured both in age and artistically. She won an Oscar for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof 1958 and 2 more Best Actress Oscars for Butterfield 8, 1960, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1966. It is impossible to mention Elizabeth Taylor's brilliant career without mentioning the blockbuster Cleopatra. With a salary of $1 million USD, an unprecedented amount. At that time, Elizabeth became the first actress in Hollywood history to receive a 7-digit salary. Elizabeth Taylor starred in more than 70 films, big and small, in her career, touching every genre. Each role bore the unmistakable mark of the woman with the purple eyes. Elizabeth crossed the boundaries of beauty to become one of the greatest actresses of the 20th century. Behind the title of Hollywood's greatest beauty icon was a heart that once beat wildly for women. And it was those forbidden relationships that were the most dramatic chapter in Elizabeth Taylor's life, the chapter that Hollywood tried to hide at all costs. 1. Ava Gardner, the woman who made Elizabeth Taylor trade her Oscar just to keep a secret. One Night of Love. Ava Gardner, a woman who would not bow to any man, but was captivated by Elizabeth's magical purple eyes. And Elizabeth, after broken marriages, found in him a freedom that she had never dared to touch. In 1961, at director George Cukor's party, where Hollywood people gathered monthly to unload, Ava and Elizabeth got into a heated argument over their roles in The Night of the Iguana. Ava wanted the female lead, but it went to Taylor. They threw wine at each other, and Elizabeth left first. But just a week later, Ava was seen in a magazine photo shoot with Elizabeth, arms around her waist, smiling eyes, as if nothing had happened. According to the diary of the stylist Edith Head, that was when it all began. The two were attracted not by their similarities, but by their extreme opposites. Ava was a wild woman. Elizabeth was a symbol of nobility. Ava did not need a man. Elizabeth could not live without love. And in that contrast, they found a quiet place for each other. In 1960, after her ex-husband Mike Todd died and her relationship with Burton was in turmoil, Elizabeth went to Madrid to escape. Ava, then living in Spain, invited her to her villa on the Costa del Sol. The two disappeared for 3 days. No bodyguards, no assistants, no press. Only a single note Elizabeth sent back 4 dresses unworn. Said she no longer needed them because she had found something more beautiful than any dress she had ever worn. Excerpt from a handwritten letter to designer Dior, September 1963. After those 3 nights, they confirmed nothing. But Ava wrote in her diary, "She held me like she was losing something. I let her." In 1966, Elizabeth Taylor was about to accept her Oscar for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. 3 days before the ceremony, an anonymous caller called the National Enquirer, claiming to have love letters between Ava and Elizabeth with the words, "unprintable." Elizabeth panicked. She demanded $50,000 from her lawyer to stop the leak, a sum that was almost her salary at the time. Rumor has it that this was the reason Elizabeth didn't show up at the Oscars after party that year. She stayed in her room all night, making only one call to Ava. But Ava didn't answer. In 1986, when Ava Gardner suffered a stroke, Elizabeth secretly visited her in her London apartment. She sat by her bedside for just 12 minutes. She didn't say a word. She didn't touch Ava's hand. But before she left behind an envelope. The letter has never been made public, but Ava's housekeeper said after Elizabeth left, she opened the letter and hugged it to her chest like an old lover. Ava didn't say anything, but she didn't sleep that night. 3 months later, Ava died. There was a single photograph on her bedside table, not of Frank Sinatra, not of the director, not of her family. It's Elizabeth Taylor, photographed from behind in a sheer purple silk dress, looking back. A love that is powerful, seductive, painful, and erased from history. But the traces are still there. But this was not Elizabeth Taylor's most passionate love affair. She had a cold lover from Sweden, famous for the phrase, "I want to be alone." Those two souls once collided and left a kiss that history almost forgot. 2. Greta Garbo Kid. The Rejected Kiss and the Silent Goodbye. In 1907, at a lavish party in Beverly Hills, attended by big names like Charlie Chaplin, Laurence Olivier, and Marlene Dietrich, a guest who rarely appeared in public, caused a stir. Greta Garbo. At 52, Garbo had been off the screen for nearly 20 years, living in seclusion, giving no interviews, no events. But that day, she reappeared wearing a gray fox fur